The Anzio breakout began weeks of costly fighting with a stiff German resistance as the Black Devils moved toward Rome. Every village, barn, and intersection was guarded by machine guns and 88mm cannons.
We made our way heading for Rome. We went through several villages which we captured or drove the enemy out of. A couple of places were pretty rough. Artena was a pretty rough spot. The thing I remember about Artena is the fact that it's so darn far up in the mountains. It was hard to get up there, but we got up there and we did capture it. But it's literally built right on the side of the mountain. And I can remember all the effort to get up to that place. It was terrible.
If you look down there in the middle of the valley, you will notice that there is a yellowish building. The big one.
Yellow one, yeah.
Okay? Now, beside it, there is a grayish building. The grayish building is the church. It's a huge church and a huge building. They were the only two things half spared during the fighting for Artena and Valmontone. The town of Valmontone is all around it. You have a lot of trees covering up the constructions. But that is where Highway 6 came up and led into Rome. And the Germans made their stand there. They had all their Tiger tanks moved out in the area, and it was a force objective to go down into the valley, go out and get them out of there and block their advance north, trying to get to Rome or trying to get out of the area. Many of the other Germans had gone a different route behind this mountain here. From further back, they were detouring Rome through the mountains where the planes could not hit them and where it was very difficult to follow them through the valleys. Now, force came in here. They were on the sides. They had very many difficulties getting ammunition, getting food. They had all the problems of being pinned down in a situation where the Germans know you are there and they keep hitting you with these cannons. The cannons were the feared 88mm, which could shoot easily for 20 kilometers, so imagine how precise they could be here. Plus there was somebody in the town flashing messages and telling them what was supposed to be hit. The headquarters, Frederick's headquarters, were right inside this building here. Right in there, in the lower part, where the foundation walls are very thick. The names of Frederick and Walker and Finroll are still on the wall, written with a pencil. And the owner has assured me that they will not be rubbed out. Eventually, when it is possible, they might give us a chance to see them. Okay? Now, the force tried several times to get, you see this road which takes to Valmontone. They went into the fields and they broke out into the fields trying to get there, but there was a lot of fighting and they kept being hit down here. One of the reasons for the second plaque to be put up there was that there was a man by the name of Antonio Santos, who was an aidsman, a medic, and he wasn't right up to the standards, but in those days you took what you had. What they gave you and you needed a medic, and that was it. He was always left behind. These guys marched for 50 minutes and rested for 10. When they stopped, Santos would slowly come up, and as Santos approached them, they took off again. So Santos came all the way from the beachhead up here and was down here in an aid station. He went out several times to bring back in men to the aid station. He was wounded once and kept on going. Patched himself up, went out, got the men, brought them back in, treated them. Second time, and he was hit a second time. The third time he didn't make it. So Ed said I could not get him. Ed Thomas, I'm talking about the commander of 1st Battalion, 2nd Regiment. This is where I got my information, besides the Burns book. I would like to put something up. I could not get him any kind of medal, but I can't put up a plaque just for him. I will put up a plaque for all the guys who fell here. And sure enough, as fate would have it, in 2010, the relatives of Antonio Santos met someone of the force. That someone directed them to John Hart. John Hart said to me, would you happen to know anything of a forceman by the name of Santos? And I had the privilege. Obviously, Ed couldn't do it anymore because he was gone, but fate has a strange way of giving back. And I had the privilege of taking this woman and her husband over to the side here, down in the valley, to where her uncle was hit the 3rd time.
I was in this area right here where I'm standing during some of the heaviest fighting that took place in Artena. I was with a crew doing communications between headquarters, command post, and the front lines. We set up our equipment inside of this building. This was all bare land. There were no buildings, and the battles were taking place all around this area. During the second night of battle, there were problems with communicating with the front lines. It took us about 2 hours crawling all the way down to the bottom to repair the lines. We found the broken lines, we repaired them, and we came back on. And all that time there was a lot of shelling going on around us. Luckily we made it back sound and safe back to our CP. I recall a native that came and asked us for help because there were over 150 people in the cave taking shelter, and in the group there was a priest that had been hit with shrapnel on his legs, and they wanted us to give him first aid. We brought him up here, put him in a Jeep. We had a Red Cross flag flying on the Jeep, and I noticed as we were moving, they were shooting machine gun fire at us from down below. Luckily, we were going too fast, and we made it safely down to the station.
On the wall outside the castle, or near the castle, is a plaque. And it has the names of the force members who gave their lives in that general area of combat. And I know for a fact there's a couple of my company members on that plaque.